guys, and welcome back to This is Fortaleza. Again, if you guys don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Quintero, and Fortaleza is a community where we shed light about mental health and personal development via my own journey. And I'm going to pick up where we last left off on our last video. I was talking about limiting beliefs. I introduced them to you guys and, how they show up in different people. Like I said, I was going to dive into my own limiting beliefs in this video. So I do want to give a disclaimer. I am going to be talking about multiple things that surround mental health, like eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and I'm also going to be talking about surgery. So if any of these might be triggering to you, I do recommend you probably watch this video on another time. But enough of that. Let's dive right into my limiting beliefs. And I want to admit to you guys, this is a little scary. I haven't openly talked about a lot of these topics with a lot of people. It's a handful of people who really know the true, real, unfiltered Jacqueline. But again, I want to just bring awareness and make it a comfortable space for people to talk about it and normalize that, people are dealing with disorders like eating disorders, with body dysmorphia. So, for the limiting belief that I'm going to shed light on that I've had in the past was, if you guys don't know me, I have always been thick, chubby, chunky. Ever since I was born, I was like a 12-pound baby, so I was pretty heavy. And as I was growing up as an adolescent, I was always the chunkier one. And if you guys don't know me in person, I do have a reputation for having a big butt. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful and I love my body now, but as a child, I learned to normalize objectifying my body. And early on in my adolescence, I kind of had this mindset where I knew that I was always the chubby one. I was always big boned, like it was genetic. And with that being said, a bunch of shit happens. I was a product. I was a product of two young parents. My mother was 19. My dad was 21 when they had me. So, they didn't have much of parenting skills, and I love my parents, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for both of them, but I was exposed to a lot of things that I think as a child, you shouldn't be exposed to, and it kind of took a toll on my self-esteem. I am the eldest of 4 siblings, so I kind of took on the leadership role. And with that being said, going back to my past videos, I took on like the fawn trauma effect, where it's like I always wanted to be the good girl. I always wanted to be correct. I never wanted to get in trouble. And I used food as a coping mechanism. And I am going to quote the Hartford Hospital. And eating disorders are basically serious illnesses tied to irregular eating habits, severe stress, or concerns about body image characterized by too much eating or too little food intake. So that's basically what eating disorders are. I am going to put resources down below so you guys can, if you're struggling with that, you can find our resources. But the specific eating disorder that I dealt with earlier on in my adolescent life was bulimia nervosa. And for those of you guys don't know, that's when you excessive eat and then you purge after. And I also, later on in life, recently, I discovered that I had some body dysmorphia issues. And according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, body dysmorphia is a body image disorder characterized by persistent and intrusive preoccupations with an imagined or slight defect in one's appearance. So they can't control their negative thoughts, and they don't believe people who tell them that they look fine. And I know this might be a shocker because, again, I haven't openly talked to this about my family. I know, there's been signs and symptoms where people kind of known what I've been going through in the past, but I've never officially have confessed or opened up to the people around me of what I was dealing with from as early as 11 years old. And something that I do want to shed light upon as well is it's a statistic that I want to talk about is according to the National Council for Mental Well-Being, an eating disorder is the deadliest mental health disorder with a mortality rate of 10%. So it's the most deadliest mental health disorder, yet less than a third of the people with eating disorders receive treatments for mental illness. So 1 out of 3 people do not get any help. And I'm very grateful, and I can say very proudly that I have an amazing support system around me, and they encouraged me to seek professional help and, really take the time to reflect. And with that being said, I kind of, grew up with this mindset, and I was living with these demons for a very long time, and I didn't know how to properly address these demons. And I got to a point where I felt so exhausted. People that know me when I was in high school, they always would compare me like, oh my God, in high school you were so thin. And what they don't really know is that at high school I was at the thinnest I ever was, but I was also the unhealthiest. I was eating less than 700 calories a day. I was working out excessively. I would go to volleyball practice, and after that I would go to the gym, and I had to burn at least 1,000 calories at the gym or else I would not leave. And it was a very, very dark time in my life. With that being said, life happens. We enter as these teenage years where it's like you're entering adulthood and you're kind of a teenager were very difficult for me. I experienced a lot of life experiences that took a huge toll on who I am, my well-being. And not only was I using food as a coping mechanism, but then I started to use alcohol as a coping mechanism to suppress whatever emotions I wanted to not talk about. It was just easier for me. And I found myself, in a really, really dark place. And life happens. Things happen. People come in your life and they leave. And, all you're left with is these emotions and these stories that people leave. And certain people come, and going back with what I was talking about in our previous, like the limiting beliefs, I did have a couple life experiences that took a huge toll on who I was and who I was becoming. And when it was 2020, last year, the pandemic happened, and everybody knows that not only were you literally isolating yourself, but the amount of mental health illnesses skyrocketed. And I was one of them where I was now deprived from working, I used work as a coping mechanism. I would, exhaust myself and just try to avoid my emotions. And they took that work from me, and I found myself in a really dark place. And at that time, I had some family members who had got gastric sleeve surgery. And I'm very thankful for them because they were both very courageous, and they told me from the get-go how of a life-changing experience it was for them. And they did let me know up front that it was not easy, that it was going to be fucking hard. And I think I was just so tired and exhausted of following this cycle that I didn't know how to get out of for over 10 years when it comes to like my eating habits, my drinking habits, my purging. And I just got so exhausted where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And again, I don't want to like encourage anybody to do anything because I take full responsibility of what I did. And something that I do want to shed light upon is that we have this stigma when it comes with weight loss surgery that it's the easy way out or it's for lazy people. And that's why I decided not to tell anybody in the beginning, only the family members that were supportive, because I knew I was going to get a lot of backlash. I come from a household where it's like, go to the gym, work out, stop being fucking lazy. And they didn't know that I was dealing with so many mental health issues that I exhausted my working out routine, my eating habits. That, keep in mind, this is during a pandemic, and I had to make the decision where I had to go out of the country, go to the hospital. No one could stay with me, so I'm very thankful for my aunt Juicy. I love you, Juicy, if you're watching this, because she stayed with me during my surgery. She couldn't go into the hospital. She made sure I came out, good and alive. So thank you, Juicy. But keep in mind, I went in there. I didn't even tell one of my parents, because one of my parents was so anti-surgery. So it was very scary. I was isolated, literally, at my most vulnerable. I had just got 80% of my stomach chopped off. And, but I was just so tired, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. And I'm so grateful that I did that, because it's molded me to who I am now. And now keep this in the equation. Food was my coping mechanism. So now we take food out of the equation. Guess what happens? You got to deal with all your fucking demons that you've been hiding, suppressing. You got to really challenge them, and you have to, now how do you cope? And that's something that I also want to address. Like, when it comes, I applaud people who can lose weight organically, because you're losing weight, you're eating healthy, and you're getting all, endorphins, serotonin, your happy hormones. Losing weight, happy hormones. Losing weight, happy hormones. In comparison with someone who does a weight loss surgery, your body's losing weight, but my hormones were not catching up, and I was still fixated and gravitated and just obsessing over my weight, where it's like I'm losing 10, 20, 30 pounds, but somehow I still felt unhappy. And that's when I realized, I was like, it's not about the weight. It's about my mindset. And I realized that it really wasn't the number of the scale. It's like I really had to reprogram my mind. And I am not going to lie, I entered a very a depressive state where I didn't know what to do. I felt like I'm getting what I asked the universe to lose weight and get skinny, but I was still miserable and unhappy. And that's when I decided to finally be courageous and seek therapy. And that was something that I was resisting for so long. Because I was so scared to be categorized as, oh, you're depressed, or oh, you have PTSD, or oh, like, I didn't want to have that title. But I honestly, it kind of like, I had to kind of hit rock bottom for me to be like, oh my God, I need help. Like, I need help. And that's why I want to give a huge round of applause to everybody in the mental health field, because without you guys, a lot of people would not be here. And I'm so grateful for my therapist, Viviana. I hope one day you watch this and you can see how much an impact you were for me. But again, I'm going back to, this is the limiting belief, where it literally showed up in my life, where I'm getting the results that I wanted, but my mindset wasn't matching with it. And thankfully, I got a lot of resources. More than anything, I had to take accountability for myself. Going back to what I was saying in my last video, you are the narrator of your own story. You can decide whether you want to keep having these limiting beliefs, whatever limiting belief it is. Or you can also be responsible and decide, I want to change. I don't want to keep having these generational curses going on. Like, I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to make an effort and go to therapy, something that no one in my family does, nobody talks about, but I'm going to be the first to bring awareness. And I'm telling you this because it's hard. Mental health, personal development, your mindset. There's going to be weeks that you fall back. Last week was one of those weeks where it's like, I have these amazing resources. I'm thankfully I got certified to be a mental health first aider, but I realized that I still have my off days, and that's okay. But guess what? I give myself some time to really feel what I'm feeling, and instead of repressing it, and then I get up. I'm like, okay, well, who do you want to become? What do you want to do? This has helped me so much when it comes to my limiting beliefs. I say some positive affirmations about myself. I am powerful. I am healthy. I am vulnerable. I am sensitive, but I'm also very strong. And I am eternally grateful for everybody, for you guys for watching. I know this is very difficult. This is a topic that is scary. And if you've been through a weight loss surgery, I send you a huge hug, because it's something that it's so challenging. But guess what? You decided to invest in yourself. Whether, whatever it is, whether you go to the gym, whether you wake up early, whether you meal prep, whether you do an act of kindness. Like, I want you guys to give a round of applause to yourself, because this is what Fortaleza is, just bringing awareness and letting you know that we are human, and it's so much more common. And I hope you guys can resonate with this. Please take whatever you want from it. Whatever resonated with you, take it and run with it, and just take some time to really sit down and be, okay, what story do I want? What do I want to be? Who do I want to become? I love you guys. I'm sending all of you guys a huge hug. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And bendiciones.